There is a moment in every life when effort stops being enough, not because you become lazy, not because you failed, but because the rules changed quietly. And most people never notice this shift when it happens. They only notice the consequences. They work harder yet fall behind. They stay honest yet get replaced. They follow rules yet lose positions, and slowly confusion turns into resignation. This is not bad luck. This is not fate. This is ignorance of how money actually works. Niccolo Machiavelli was not writing about evil. He was writing about reality without illusions. He was a philosopher whose contribution to personal finances, power, and stability cannot be overemphasized. So, therefore, it is very necessary for everyone who wants progressive and long lasting success to learn and practice the Machiavelli laws. The truth remains that money, more than anything else, lives in the reality of these laws. Money does not respond to morality. It does not reward fairness. It does not care about effort. Money responds to structure, leverage, and position. This video is not here to motivate you. It is here to remove blindness, because once you see how wealth truly operates, you can no longer pretend you didn't know. Please, I urge you to grab a pen and a book. Kindly sit back and watch this video till the end. And also make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and please encourage us to grow. Never you forget this. The world is not divided into good and bad people. It is divided into those who understand system and those who serve the system. Most people spend their lives on the second side, not because they are weak, but because they were taught to be obedient instead of to be strategic. And obedience does not build wealth, but understanding does. Consider Machiavelli's financial law 1, which states that money obeys position, not effort. Let's take, for instance, two people walk into the same building every morning. They arrive at the same time, they leave at the same time, they wear the same uniforms. One of them work harder, the other makes more money. Why? Because effort is visible, but position is decisive. A machine operator who works 10 to 12 hours a day, his hands produces value directly. If he stops working, production slows down. And above him is a supply chain manager. That manager never touches the machine, but the manager always gets to decide which supplier is chosen, when materials arrive, and when costs are approved. Even when production fails, the operator is blamed. But when profit rises, the manager is rewarded. Don't you think this is unfair? Why? Because the operator executes, the manager's controls flow. Money follows control, not sweat, not struggle. Always bear this in mind, that every organization has an invisible throne. Not the title, but the position where decisions passes through. If money must pass through you to move forward, you are paid. If money moves around you, you are replaced. This is why doers burn out, deciders scale and remain. Now, what does Machiavelli say about this? Machiavelli understood something most never learn. He understood that men are judged by results, not intentions. The system does not reward how hard you try, it rewards where you stand. Now, here are some financial habits to adopt as regards Machiavelli's law 1. Stop asking yourself, how can I work harder? But rather ask yourself, where does value flow and how can I stand there? And these are some actions you should also take Move towards the roles that approve, allocate, negotiate, learn how money moves inside your industries. Stop glorifying exhaustion. Hard work builds value. Position captures it. If effort doesn't create wealth, then why are the loudest people often the poorest? And this brings us to Machiavelli's second financial law. And this law states that visibility is a trap for the poor because there is a strange obsession among those who don't have power yet. They want to be seen working, seen succeeding, seen winning. They believe visibility creates opportunity, but history shows the opposite. Visibility attracts attention, and attention attracts pressure, envy, and control. Take for example, let's picture two men in the same city. One drives a loud car. He posts his achievements everywhere, announces his every move, while the other is invisible. No noise, no announcement. Then fast forward to 5 years later, the first is still explaining and proving his worth, while the second now owns the building the first rents, where the first lives in. Also take for instance, a small retail owner makes some money. Instead of reinvesting, he upgrades his lifestyle. He buys new phone, new cars, and some social proofs. Meanwhile, another retailer keeps the same lifestyle, buys storage space, negotiates bulk pricing, expands quietly, and when the economy tightens, the flashy one collapses, while the silent one absorbs competitors and keeps scaling. Why? Because visibility invites scrutiny, while silence builds leverage. And Machiavelli warned that he who is too much seen is too easily struck. Those without power reveal themselves to feel important. So here are some financial habits to adopt as regards this law. First of all, delay gratification. Hide your accumulations. Separate your ego from strategy. Money grows best in the dark. If visibility weakens you, then ask yourself that why do loyal people who stay quiet and faithful still lose? This leads us to third law of finance by Machiavelli, which states that loyalty is rewarded with stagnation. Loyalty is praised publicly, but in private, it is exploited. Systems love loyal people because loyal people don't move. Take for instance, a man who works in same community for 10 years. He trains new hires, he covers shifts, he never complains. When promotion time comes, the management, instead of keeping and promoting him, the management hires an external personnel at a higher salary. The loyal man is shocked, but the system is not shocked because it's an organized system. And always remember that companies do not reward loyalty, they reward leverage. The loyal employees have no competing offers, no exit pressure, no urgency. The external hires has options, market validation, negotiation power, and the system pays the one who can always walk away, in this case, which is the external hired. Machiavelli understands this, that men are driven more by necessity than gratitude. Loyalty removes necessity, and when necessity disappears, so reward disappears also. Here are some financial habits to adopt as regards to this law. Always keep options open. Build leverage before demanding reward. Never confuse appreciation with value. Security is not loyalty. Security is replaceability cost. Now let's proceed to law 4, which states that money flows towards structure, not to talent. Yes, it is true that talent excites people, but structure pays them. Take, for instance, two businesses start the same year. One has bright ideas, no systems, emotional decisions, while the other one is boring. It appears boring. It has clear roles, simple processes, and predictable routines. That is, it has a system. Then, 10 years later, the one that is talented collapses, while the one which appears boring dominates. Why? Because it has a system. Always take note of this. A gifted entrepreneur handles everything personally, refuses delegation, chases innovation constantly, while a less talented competitor documents processes, trains staffs, repeats proven models. The market chooses the second, which is a less talented competitor. Why? Because money avoids chaos. Now, this is what Machiavelli's law says about this. Machiavelli said that power survives through order. Without structure, wealth leaks. And here are some financial habits to adopt as regards to Law 4. Systemize your income. Have a strategy, a system for your income flow. As a worker or as an entrepreneur, remove emotions from your decisions. Build repeatability. Chaos feels exciting. Order builds empire. So bring in order in anything you are doing. But what happens when morality itself becomes a disadvantage? That is where people misunderstand Niccolo Machiavelli the most. Now, to explain further, let's proceed to Law 5. And this law states that morality is a luxury of the powerful. This is not about being unethical. It is about understanding who enforces the morality. Imagine this: two competitors enter the same market. One follows every rule strictly. He avoids confrontation, refuses negotiation, while the other knows the rules, understands flexibility, negotiates aggressively. Only one survives. Take, for example, also that large corporations bend regulations, they influence policy, they hire compliance teams, while small players follow rules perfectly. They still get crushed, despite the fact that they follow rules perfectly, because morality is enforced downwards, not upwards. Machiavelli never said be immoral. You have to understand this. He never said be immoral. Rather, he said understand power or be ruled by it. And here are some financial habits to adopt as it regards to Law 5. Learn rules deeply. Understand incentives behind enforcement. Never rely on fairness as protection. Awareness is not corruption. It is survival. So now let's proceed to Law 6, which states that the system pays owners, not workers. Before we proceed, please subscribe, like, comment, and share this content if you found value. Support us to grow. You can also hit the notification button so that you will always be the first to know when we post financial educative contents like this. Thank you. So now let's proceed over to Law 6. Law 6 states that the system pays owners, not workers. There is a quiet misunderstanding that traps millions of intelligent people. They believe that income is tied to effort. No, it is not. Income is tied to ownership. Take, for instance, a shop opens at 9 a.m. The employee arrives early. He cleans, he serves customers. He leaves exhausted. The owner does not even arrive. He doesn't come to that shop. Yet at the end of the month, the employee is paid once, while the owner is paid repeatedly. Why? because the system does not reward presence. The system rewards control. Also consider this example: a security guard who protects a building for 12 hours a day. The landlord is the one who owns that building. If the security guard gets sick, income stops. If the landlord travels, the rent inflow still continues despite the absence of the landlord. Why? Because hard work sustains life, but ownership sustains wealth. Never forget this also, that power is the ability to benefit without participation. Those who must always be present are never free. And here are some financial laws to adapt as regards Law 6. Shift from selling time to owning processes. Acquire assets that functions without you. Stop confusing income with wealth. If you stop showing up and the money stops, then you don't own anything. But many people believe that education will save them. And this brings us to 7th law. And this law states that education without strategy creates servants. Let's not get things twisted. Education is powerful, yes, but when it is paired with intent. Let's picture this scenario. A graduate enters the workforce. He has certificates, he has theories, he has debts to pay. And across the street is someone else who has no degree, no practical skill, but has market demand. 5 years later, one asks for permission while the other one sets the prices. And also take this example: a man studies finance academically, while another one works inside a trading firm operations. One understands concepts while the other one understands flow. The market pays the second who understands flow, because knowledge without positioning is decoration. The system does not reward intelligence, it rewards application in leverage zones. Here are some financial habits to adopt as regards Law 7. Learn skills that remove dependence. Study how money moves, not just how it's described. Choose usefulness over prestige. Degrees impress people, strategies impresses the systems, but even skills has limits, because money rarely moves through merit alone. Now let's proceed to Law 8, which states that network moves money faster than talent. Network moves money faster than talents. Most opportunities never appear publicly. They are circulated privately. Bear in mind that a decision is made behind closed doors. Jobs are filled, contracts are signed, deals are agreed upon, then announcement is released. By the time the talent applies, the outcome is already decided. Take for example, a construction contract is awarded. The company that is selected for this contract was not the cheapest. It wasn't the most skilled, it was the known. Trust moves faster than evaluation. Here is what Machiavelli says about this. He said that power prefers familiarity over excellence. Those inside the cycle decide. Here are some financial habits to adopt as regards Law 8. Spend time where decisions happen. Build relationship before you need them. Stop isolating intelligence. Talent opens doors. Network decide who walks in. Next, moving into Law 9, which states that desperation is visible, it is punishable. Desperation is visible and it is punishable. Money senses urgency and it runs from it. A man needs money quickly. He accepts bad deals. he undervalues himself. He loses leverage. Another man waits. He chooses timing over speed. The second always wins. For example, investors can smell desperation during negotiation. Employers can sense it. The more you need the deal, the worse the deal becomes. Machiavelli says, those who can wait control those who cannot. Here are financial habits to adopt as regards Law 9. Build reserves. Avoid dependency. Play long games. Patience is not passivity, it is power stored. Patience is a virtue. Last but not the least, let's look at Law 10, which states that wealth without power is temporary. Many people make money, but few keep it, because money without protection is exposed. A new regulation appears. Small players panic, large players adapt. Why? Because power influences rules. Let's take for instance, industries collapses for the unprotected, but institutions survive. The wealthy aligns with influence, the poor rely on luck. Machiavelli said that wealth lasts where power exists. Money without influence is a prey. And here are financial habits to adopt as regards Law 10. Align with institutions. Understand policies and structures. Stop building wealth in isolation. Security is built socially, not emotionally. Finally, Machiavelli was not teaching cruelty. He was teaching clarity. The world does not punish innocence, it exploits ignorance. Money is not evil, it is precise. And now you know the rules. You can continue to play fair in the game that isn't fair, or you can become aware, move deliberately, because in the end, wealth is not about greed, it is about position, and position is always a choice. You don't lose money because you are unlucky. You lose it because you never learned how the game was designed. Thank you so much for staying through till the end. This is Finance and Freedom, and please don't forget to subscribe if you found value in this content. Like, share to someone who you think needs to learn this law, and hit the notification button so that you always be the first to be notified when we post content like this. Thank you, and see you on the next one.